What's up, y'all?
Hey, guys.
Finally back after, I don't know, weeks of not recording.
I know. It's been a few weeks, so.
So if you want to see us without COVID, go ahead and subscribe.
Yes, do that, please.
Feel free.
Live from Washington, D.C., you are listening to Just John and April on the Lance J Radio Network.
Just between you and me, there's a line, there's no tricks, ooh, there's a love.
Welcome to Just John and April, the relationship podcast, your place to level up your intimacy. Lance J Radio Network. We're excited to finally be back.
Yes.
After
it's
a
been
long
a while.
breaky break. You know what I'm
A
saying?
nice little break.
Yeah, it has been. Involuntary break.
Not on point, okay? This was not on purpose.
So I want to start by just asking you, April. Everybody knows you're a teacher, and we're getting to the end of the school year. I think we just finished up the graduation season and stuff like that. How are you feeling? Because, you know, usually when summertime hits, you turn into a new person, and I get a whole new wife.
Well, you tell me. It's been a couple days.
I mean, you know what? I think what's been going on health-wise with us probably
Can't
makes
tell.
it. I can't tell yet.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
really tell.
I can't either, actually.
Okay,
Because,
all right.
you know. But I will say that I've been feeling just in the, it's only been a day, really.
Right.
It's only been a day. But
Yeah.
that night,
Right.
I slept really well.
You did get good numbers.
Yeah, I got some good numbers. We'll talk about that later. But yes,
Yeah.
I slept really well. So that
Yeah.
just shows that I am relaxed.
Right.
I'm,
No more stress.
exactly.
Strits.
So,
Okay, so
I'm ready for the summer.
I want to
tell
talk.
you that.
I want to talk a little bit about why we haven't been here. Those of you that follow us on Instagram, you probably already know. Just John and April on Instagram, by the way, if you're not
Yeah,
following
go
us
ahead and
now.
follow us on there.
You probably already know that we were down with the virus, and we have been dodging it for 2 years.
Man, we got through it for a long time.
We did go a long time, and we did pretty good.
without getting it.
You know what? The thing is, I got to a point now where I felt like if you follow the rules like they say you're supposed to with masking and stuff like that and social distancing and whatever, you can stay COVID free. That's basically what it's been feeling like because we've been free.
I know.
And then we got it.
And I'll be masked up when no one else is.
Right. Exactly.
But it didn't matter.
Right.
It's like this one don't matter. This one
It
is
feels like
getting everybody.
It feels like there's something different about this
Yes,
variant or something.
This joint
Yeah.
is getting everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, we all been down,
Right.
the whole family.
That's true.
So
it started
yeah.
with April and I, though. The two of us got it first. We think April got it from one of her school events and
Yeah.
brought it home, and the two of us had it. When we found out, we tested, and we tested the kids. They tested negative. So we basically quarantined in our bedroom.
Yeah.
And we have been away from them for however long. You know,
Yeah,
it
it's been
took
a
10
while.
straight days, right?
because then they got it, so
Right.
then they had
now
to
they got
quarantine,
it
so
one
it's
by
like-
one, and so now everybody's
Yeah,
had it,
so
basically.
it's been almost 3 weeks with all this.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the question I want to know. And I want you to just answer honestly. And I don't know, this may sound bad. I've thought this through myself.
Okay.
And in some ways, I don't want to necessarily admit it, but, this is what our show's about. So, whatever. My question to you is, do you think you could have survived COVID without me? I shouldn't say it that way. What I really mean is, do you think you would have been fine if I had it and you didn't, or if you had it and I didn't? Or do you think ultimately it was better that we both got it at the same time?
Well, I thought we had a really good time together.
It was fun. I agree.
Even though we were sick.
Yes.
And we were sick. But
The
it was
first few days we were really
sick. So
Right.
being sick together and just kind of, that was, I mean, you didn't have to separate, that's good
Right.
and everything.
Right.
But I would say if I had it by myself, I think I would have been okay that first day.
Okay.
Having that would have
Yes.
been nice.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Having,
right,
I mean,
right.
not sick.
Right.
Of course not.
Right,
But
of
I'm just
course.
saying, being alone the first day. But if it for 10 days or 5, because they say you can come out double masked
After
on
5.
the 5th day.
Correct. Yes.
But then you're not really out.
Right. Yeah, you're just
just
going
out
out to
to
get
get
something
what
real
you
quick and
need
go
and
right
you
back to the room.
Right.
Right.
So I would not have been okay.
Yeah. I already
and then
know.
not just being away from you, being away from everyone.
Well, we already felt it being away from the kids. We
Yeah.
already felt what it feels like for the two of us to have been in our room together
Yes.
by ourselves for 10 days without them. That was hard.
That was hard. Yeah.
And I didn't expect that, actually. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it to be so hard after those days, feeling like, man, I have not seen the
I
kids.
know. I wanted to hug them.
Listen,
like,
listen.
I just
went in
wanted to
John's
touch
room.
my children.
I went in John's room last night and dapped him. Seriously, you should have
Yeah.
seen the smile. Huge smile on his face, and he literally said, "I haven't dapped you in like however
I
long."
know. Well, when we
know what I'm
hugged, he
saying?
held on to me.
Wow,
Like,
did that feel good?
it did. It felt so good. And I'm ready to hug Julia.
Right. Julia was the last one to
She's
get
the
it, so
last one.
she's
She's almost done.
Yeah, so
She's almost done
we
with
can't
her
really
with her
hug
time.
her yet. but
Everybody's
John's other one
better.
was finished,
Nobody's
yeah.
sick anymore.
Right, so that's good.
But you still have to make sure you finish out the days. At least we're doing that.
Right.
But no, I felt lonely from them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Even though we were together.
Even though we were together.
So let me just say, and everybody knows, y'all know me, I would not have been able to survive. I would have really struggled. It would have been so FaceTiming the kids is cool, but it's almost like cruel. Because you can see each other. It's like a step closer, but you can't touch. So it's actually, in some ways, I don't like it as much.
Yeah.
I feel like if you were sick without me, or if I was sick without you, it would have been very difficult. Well, first of all, I don't like the idea of having to sleep on something other than our bed.
Right.
And so I wouldn't have liked that part of it.
Yeah.
But also having to stay in communication and talk to each other, stuff like that.
The Lord
I would have
knew.
hated that.
The Lord
He
knew.
He knew.
Okay,
Yeah.
because
So here
I
it
would
is
not
out.
have liked that either.
Right. It would
Like I
have been
said,
terrible.
your first day, okay, you can.
But 10 days?
But 10?
Nah, bruh.
No.
Now,
Too much.
Now, I do want to know a couple of things. I want you to put it in the comments. You guys, I want to know, and you know what? Maybe you shouldn't comment. Maybe you shouldn't be honest with this around your spouse. But I want to know, like, when you think of the idea of being quarantined away from your spouse, does it feel like, oh man, that would be nice? Because I think some people, maybe they love each other. Maybe they don't like each other as much.
Or they just like time away.
Yes.
Because they like when you come back.
Maybe.
So
my,
I don't think we
my
should
question,
say there's anything wrong with
There might not
that.
be anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
That's true. You're right. There
Because
might
I
not be
know
anything
some
wrong with it.
people who work, they have jobs where they like that they travel away.
Yes.
Because they get time away, and
Right.
then when they come back,
They
it's
enjoy it
like
even more.
they enjoy it even more.
Yes.
So I think for certain people, you can like, your personality, you can like some time away,
Yes.
coming back, and having that be a
I want you to
constant
tell us
thing.
in the comments. I want to know whether or not being quarantined from your spouse for 10 days, let's just say let's say you had COVID, but it was like no symptoms.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
let's
Something
say
like that. So yeah. But just the idea, the spouse part, does it give you like, oh man, that might be nice? Or you're like, oh no, there's no way I can
But
survive.
you know what?
I'd like to know that. So put it in the comments.
This is the thing. I think the way that I would be able to survive without you is if I was sick.
If you were
Because
actually sick.
Yes, because I'd be sleeping.
Okay.
You see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yes.
So
You'd
you're
be
not.
miserable.
You're sleeping
Yes.
most of the time.
Right.
So that might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just glad we didn't have to do that.
Now, let me
alone.
ask you why I brought this question. Because I actually thought to myself that this is a perfect metaphor for what it may feel like to be lonely in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that we come in contact with who say they're married, but they're lonely.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like an oxymoron. It
Right.
feels like if you're married to someone, you should have a life partner, someone to share everything with that you could spend some time with where you never would be lonely again. And
Right.
yet there are scores of people who are married and lonely at the same time. It must be kind of like having a virus or something that would make you have to kind of quarantine where you're with this person, but you're not really together.
Yeah,
you know what
but
I'm saying?
I would say that would be
Emotional
quarantining emotionally. You know what I
quarantine,
mean?
yes,
Like
I
emotional
agree.
quarantine. You're
Yes.
there. You're with each other physically.
Yes.
But emotionally, you are not together.
You're not really connected.
You're not connected.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think, sometimes it could be just something as simple as, not simple, but just you not noticing me. You're not noticing the things that I'm dealing with.
Right, right.
Or acknowledging those things.
Yeah,
I would even say feeling that those things are being ignored.
yeah.
You can feel lonely.
Yes,
You
I
know,
agree.
Lonely in this life that you are living, that you are going through something personally,
Yes.
and your partner's not even noticing that.
So I want to actually have them on the show. We talked about this, and we're going to ask them at some point. Our friends, the Snells, Deb Lier and Gianna Snell. Gianna was talking about this recently,
Really?
on something that she was on, and she was basically saying that when they were going through a particularly difficult time in their marriage, that she didn't really perceive that her husband was having a hard time with it. And she was struggling, and so it made her feel lonely. Because in that moment, she was like, this guy doesn't even understand. He's having a good time.
And what's so funny is that's how I felt when we moved. That's how I felt when we moved. That's how I felt in two of our moves.
Okay.
Two of our moves. Moving to graduate school.
Yes, when we went to Michigan.
That was the
Yes.
first move,
Yes.
and moving here.
Okay. Yeah.
Those were the two moves, the only two moves where I felt lonely.
Okay.
Because I felt like I was going through something that you weren't going through. And it was like opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm feeling like, lonely, period. Like lonely even in the outside of the home.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And you were having a good old time.
Right. Right.
Knowing
'Cause I know people and stuff like that.
And,
Right.
and I don't think it was not like your fault. You
Right.
weren't intentionally doing it.
Right.
But I think that when that loneliness, when you feel that, you don't know how to express it. Because I didn't say to myself, I feel lonely. Like I didn't know until later.
You just
that's
didn't
what
like
that
the
was.
feeling, whatever it
I
was.
was just like, yo, I'm feeling this and he's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then later it was like, you know what? I feel like I'm in this alone. Kind of like that.
Yes.
You know?
So here's the question. Do you think that in order for us to be able to, not feel lonely in our relationships, that we both have to, experience the same things the same ways? You know what I'm saying? I mean, how do
didn't
we
say
help?
that. No.
Correct.
Right.
I don't think you said that.
Okay,
but
okay.
here's what
Yeah,
I wonder.
yeah.
I wonder if we're helping some other couple with this, and we're trying to help them to get out of their loneliness. What's the solution? Is it just to make it so that one feels what the other one is feeling? Like how do we help them?
Well, I think there has to be some empathy there. There has to be some empathy there because, especially if I'm expressing to you, how I'm feeling.
Yes.
Like, okay, maybe I might not use the word lonely, but I could say, I feel like I'm not, connecting with the people around me
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
I feel like this place is just different and I'm just not,
Yeah.
and then empathizing with that and being able to say, okay, what do you need from me?
So you don't necessarily
You know what I
need me
mean?
in that situation to say, yeah, I feel that way too. But
No,
you would like it if in
no.
that situation I leaned into that and
Yes.
said, what is it about this place? What's bothering you? Why are you feeling that way?
Right. How
At
can I
least
help?
show that I see that you're having some kind of problem with being
Yeah, and
here.
I think that's really what I was talking about when I was saying noticing, because like if you don't notice that your partner is going through something, right, then you won't be able to empathize,
Right.
Because you don't even see them,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if
Right.
I don't feel seen in that way, it's gonna make it so that you're not even able to connect with me on that level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So loneliness then can happen even in a loving relationship.
Yes.
Even where you like each other, because it's possible that you experience a traumatic thing in different ways so that you don't understand each other. And it's like, man, he's not going through this at all. And I'm over here struggling. And that can make you feel like, man,
That
am I
can
going
make
through
you
this
feel
by
lonely.
myself?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's deep because people go through stuff all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And you're gonna have different
And you don't know when you get married that this is going to happen. And you can have the
Exactly.
perfect marriage where everything's going
Yeah,
well. And
yeah.
then some outside influence comes in, some issue
Yep.
invades your situation that you didn't know was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it creates this other situation
Yeah,
that you
and
didn't know was gonna happen.
sometimes both partners are wanting the other to empathize or wanting to be seen. And it's like, I want to be seen, but I want to be seen.
Right.
So that can
We don't
that can be
necessarily
difficult.
express it, and then we both end up being lonely.
Exactly.
In a relationship where we love each other.
And look, and then we go back to the thing that we say is top number one key for happy marriage, and that's communication.
Right.
It goes back to that.
It goes back to that every
it
time.
does
That's true.
every time.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do with that communication? What you do with it is a whole another conversation.
That's true.
What do you do with that
Yeah.
once it's communicated?
So I got a question for you, and we're about to go to a little bit of a break, and then
Okay.
I'm going to ask you the question later because you ended up, I guess we got some stuff and we got some information on something that I think you said helped you to feel seen by me. And I want to know a little bit more about
okay,
that.
let's talk about
So we'll
it.
talk about that when we come back.
You are listening to the Lance J Radio Network.
Paragon 7 Studios.
Hey.
John and April back with you. Talking a little bit about loneliness in marriage. And we used the metaphor of, getting sick and having to quarantine from your spouse. Maybe that's what it kind of feels like. But
Except
I want
on an emotional level.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
I want to transition a little bit by kind of talking about this thing, leading into the being seen thing. You were talking about how you feel unnoticed when you're lonely?
Well, I was saying that could be a form of loneliness happening where you don't feel seen. I don't think that necessarily has to be the only, because I think sometimes people are lonely because they are. Because in marriage, your spouse is not even physically there.
Right. Yeah,
So
you
that
could be
could be
actually
another-
lonely where the person
They
travels
work,
all the time.
all they
or
do is
All they do is work. Or,
even if they're home, all they do is work. So their attention is actually, somewhere else.
Right.
But yes, I think I think that actually not being seen is something that I think that's I want to say that's a way that someone can feel lonely and they not even know that's why. Do you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? That's not as obvious.
That's not as obvious, right?
You working all the time, you always gone. That's obvious.
That's obvious, yeah.
But you not seeing me,
Yes.
I may not even be able to recognize that until later. You know what I mean? But this feeling is there and I don't know why.
Right. Okay, so let me ask you the question then. All right, so we have these things. They're called Whoop straps. We just got them a few months ago.
Yeah.
I guess I got mine maybe February.
This has
and
been
you got
pretty
yours
life changing.
It actually has.
It really
actually
has.
So let me just tell you what a Whoop is. It basically is like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, but it doesn't have a face, as you can see. It's just the strap. You wear it all the time. It's very, very comfortable. You wear it in the shower, you wear it for bed, whatever. And it gives you information about, your exercise and stuff. But where this is different from like a Apple Watch, I never wear my Apple Watch to bed. I put it on the charger to recharge.
Right.
But this actually tells you things about your sleep. Which
Gives you details.
It gives you details, y'all.
About your
it
sleep
has literally
patterns.
been life changing. It tells you how much REM sleep you got, how much deep sleep you got, how much light sleep. How many disturbances you had at night.
How many disturbances, y'all? It's shocking.
It's shocking, man.
The disturbances.
Like I guess a disturbance would be considered like turning over in the bed or getting up to use the bathroom and just coming right back or whatever it is. And some nights we'll have like 17. Like,
one time I had like 20. It was like 22 disturbances. I'm like, what?
Right. And then that night you also did not have much REM or deep sleep. You had a lot of light sleep, and so that's kind of why.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what that information has done is it has given us sort of an insight into a particular thing that April and I have been kind of talking about.
Let me say this too. Let me say what it does too that I love. It also is like you can see, okay, if I ate late, how did I sleep?
Well, we should probably say that we're not sponsored by Whoop and that this is not a sponsored video.
I would love to be sponsored.
Yeah,
by
Whoop. We'll gladly.
We need to be sponsored.
We're just telling you. We're not just saying this stuff because we're getting paid.
No, exactly. We're the kind of people that when we love something, we really feel like it has benefited us. We're going to talk about it as if we are sponsored.
Exactly. Right. But we're not. So I just need to give that disclaimer.
Yes.
Anyway.
But
you said eating late.
Like if you eat late or if you, like if you work out. How do I sleep when I work out? How is it when I go to bed at 2 a.m. or when I go to bed at 10?
Right.
You're able to see those patterns. It's just great.
All of the data is really good, and you can look at a month, a week at a time, whatever it is, and just got to get information. So here's where this has been life-changing for us. So April and I have had this thing since we got married where I'm kind of an early bird, but I can also go to bed.
He's also a night owl.
A night owl, right.
So
it's kind of weird.
Both.
Right.
And I'm neither one. Right. I'm not an early bird or a night
right.
owl.
And somehow, even with going to bed late, I still, for some reason, end up feeling pretty good the next day. And when we got the Whoop and saw the numbers.
No, don't go there.
Okay, I won't go there. Go ahead.
Because we have to explain this a little bit more. The reason why we're talking about this is because John would always, kind of get frustrated with me with the fact that just a little frustration, slight frustration. Okay, what would you call it?
I would be confused.
Okay.
I really didn't get. I couldn't understand why.
That's what it was.
After a full night's sleep, April's so tired still.
Okay, but have you ever
or she's sleepy, or you know what I'm saying?
Have you ever been so confused that it causes frustration? Because you just don't understand something.
Okay, let me say
Can you say that?
There have been times where the effect of your night's sleep has made me frustrated. So you're right.
Okay, so there are times, I won't say always, there are times when John will be frustrated because I'm like, getting a good night, going to bed at 10, right? I wake up, a nice time. Let's say I woke up at like 8 or 9, like really long.
She got a long sleep, right?
And I'm still exhausted.
Right.
And he's like, how? How can you still be tired? You know what I'm saying? I was like, listen, I can't help it. So
there's some chime that understands exactly what we're talking about right now. They probably have a situation.
It got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to say I'm tired anymore. Because I don't like his response when I say that. So I really tried.
I'm sorry
It was It was very hard for me to do that though, because I don't know, like
you
I
want to be able to say,
yeah, I
I'm
want to be able
tired.
to say,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so tired, you know.
Right.
So then I said, I'm about to look this joint up because this is crazy. Like, why am I always tired? So I looked it up. And and I read somewhere where it talked about how women need more sleep than men. So I was like, yes, this is it.
But that wasn't enough.
I'm going to read this to John.
Right.
He's going to understand, you know.
Right.
I read him the article. It talked about how for some reason the women, the way we are made up, whatever, we need more rest.
Right.
He's like, yeah, but you get 8 to 9 hours, that should be enough, and you're still tired. So
Why is that my voice?
thank you. Thank you to the Whoop.
Yeah.
Okay. Now go ahead and
So
explain.
let me say, okay,
explain what happened.
so here's what we found out right away. First of all, no matter how late I go to sleep, I spend a long time in REM and deep sleep.
I mean, John get like 2 hours, y'all.
So here's what we found out because we listen to podcasts about it and stuff like that now. REM sleep is where your brain regenerates, and deep sleep is where your body regenerates. So those two are very important. If you're going to wake up the next day and feel rested, you need to spend, I want to say the Whoop told us it's like 35% or 30%. I can't remember exactly which percentage it is.
But you need at least an hour of each.
Well, it depends on how long you slept that night.
That's true.
Right, so it's a percentage.
2 hours.
Correct.
Yeah,
so it's a percentage. It's
Yeah,
like
based on how many hours,
It's like
yeah.
35% of your sleep should be in REM and deep. Those two together, something like that. And what we were finding was, that happens every time. Like even if I only get 3 hours of sleep, I'm going to get 35% of my sleep is going to be in REM and deep.
Every time, y'all.
So that's why I can wake up and just pop up and I'm fine. But April's.
Guys,
yo,
okay, first of all, we were looking at mine.
The first time she wore her joint, she got like 15% of REM and deep. Like,
But
what happened?
I'm gonna use it in hours, right? So we'll look at John. It'll be like hour and 50 minutes of REM.
right.
I'm like, what? Guys, you look at mine, be like 22 minutes.
Right.
I'm like, are you kidding me? 22 minutes. One time it was like 12.
Right.
I was like, what?
So
this is why.
They also give you a recovery number, right? so recovery is like how well your body did at night. I guess just rejuvenating or whatever, right? So April's recovery numbers when she first started were terrible. I mean, horrid.
35%.
Yes.
I mean, like,
and I'm getting like 85 and 90 and stuff like that. And it was like, whoa, what's going on?
So let me just say this: we were just talking about being seen.
Yes, this is the point.
This is the whole
punchline.
point.
Right.
Okay, this is the punchline. Go get you a Whoop though. Look it
Right.
up.
Oh, yeah.
See what you think,
Get
because
you
I
one.
think it's life changing. But when John
WHOOP.
Yeah, WHOOP. When John saw my numbers, y'all, and we read the scientific reasons why you need REM and what it does
listen
for
to
you.
podcasts and all that stuff. Yeah.
You have to learn that reason to understand it. He was like, "Yo, you weren't lying when you said you was tired
All these years.
You're not
now
telling
I understand.
guys." So it's
Which, by the way, it wasn't like that at first. When April and I first got married, she actually was like a world champion sleeper.
I could sleep anytime, anywhere.
and she would
Didn't
usually.
matter.
I don't remember her talking about being tired until we had kids.
Things
Once we
changed.
had children, now she was always tired. And of course, when you first have kids, you understand you're breastfeeding in the middle of the night and all this stuff. It makes sense.
But it lasted.
It never went away. Our kids are 17 and 15 now. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? I mean, when's it going to change? Well,
Juby's not 15
she'll
yet,
be
babe.
15 in a month.
Don't have her.
Yeah,
growing
she's
up too
almost
fast.
15.
Don't have her growing up too fast.
I'm just saying, our kids are grown
Anyway,
now. And you're still talking about it. Now it makes sense. I get it now.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm not getting the quality sleep. And what's crazy though, y'all, school ended for me on Thursday. Y'all, that night.
She got like
that next
4
day, I
hours.
looked at my Whoop. Y'all, I got 2 hours of REM and
Yep.
2 hours of deep.
Right.
My numbers had never been.
And you were like
So,
98% recovery and stuff like
which
that.
says that stress.
Oh yeah. Once the stress is gone, you can sleep deep.
You can
And
sleep
get
because
to that-
your brain
you're
is not
having that
thinking about.
problem.
My whole
Exactly.
point is, I felt seen when he said, "Oh my goodness, I understand," and that's all he had to do.
Right.
All he had to do was say,
Right.
"I understand. I
Yeah.
get it now."
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with you.
That empathy is there,
Yeah.
so that when I say I'm tired now, he's not saying,
Right.
you know,
Right.
it's go take a nap, babe. Try to get you a nap in. Try to get
Yeah.
you a quick cat nap. And just that simple thing, guys. That simple. And I'm talking about husbands and wives, couples
Mm-hmm.
out there who are trying to have their spouse be seen,
Right.
or their partner be seen. It needs to be where it's like, simple as I understand.
Yep.
Figure out how you can understand, because that's
Yes.
all he had to say.
That was it.
I understand. I get it. And then I
22
felt
years of the same thing.
I was like, oh my goodness, not quite 22 years because
Yeah,
you know
the first
we had the
5 we
kids,
probably
yeah.
had a problem. Yeah.
But just you saying that, it's like, wow, now I can say I'm tired,
Right.
and I know that
I'm
there's
not
going
gonna
to
get
be
mad.
some
I'm not gonna
empathy
get-
in
right,
there.
Right. Yes.
You know, and I
Yes.
think that simple act. And
So thank you, Whoop, for helping me to see my life.
helping you to see me in that way
yeah.
actually made me feel loved.
I think there are going to be
Are
people.
you hearing me?
I hear you.
Made me feel loved, babe.
I hear you. And I think there are going to be people in the comments
Yeah.
who are going to be saying, you know what? I have the same problem. My husband always says this, or my wife always says that, whatever it is.
Exactly.
And the reality is, you've got to come to a place where you can actually see the other person.
Yes.
Find a way to empathize.
Find a way to understand.
And see what's going on.
Yes.
And they may not actually be crazy. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, here's word of the day. We got to get a word of the day in here.
Yes. Okay, guys. Word of the day.
Word O, the day.
Okay, so what's the word of the day?
Word of the day is perceive.
Perceive.
And we thought this would tie into both segments. We talked in the first segment about loneliness in marriage. We talked just now about being seen, and we talked about how those things can be connected. Perceive is to become aware of something by use of one of the senses, but especially that of sight.
That of sight. Now, and the reason why I like this word and this definition is because when it said especially that of sight, I want it to be where I can see, physically see that you need to be seen for whatever reason, whatever it is. Like I can feel.
You can tell.
I can
that I
tell
need to be
through
seen.
just seeing you
Yes.
and how you're reacting.
Yes.
And that you need something from me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so perceive, right? That has to do with, you just said you being able to look and see. Same thing. It's,
Noticing.
The same thing of that word is perceptive. You know,
Yes,
being
perceptive,
perceptive.
being perceptive,
I'm
yeah.
looking and noticing you.
Yes.
And seeing that you need something from
Yes,
me. We've got to be
something
better
as-
at perceiving.
We do something as simple as needing you to understand.
Yeah.
That's it. And
Right.
sometimes that's a very simple act.
Right.
That's a very simple act to be able to accomplish, and that is to understand someone. Sometimes it could be you just doing a little research.
Right. That's
so
true.
that I can understand the perspective. You don't even have to understand how it feels.
Right.
But
That's
just
true.
understand where I'm coming from
Right.
and
Just
telling
knowing-
me that.
yes,
And
yes.
then being sensitive to that. Then I can feel seen now.
Right.
Which makes me feel loved and cared for, which actually bumps up the intimacy immediately. When
Yes.
I feel that you love and care for me enough to understand, purposely understand. You purposely went out to understand how I feel. What? That intimacy is going to immediately go to the next level.
I need a burnt chicken, burnt sound effect.
You need a burnt-
That's what I need right now. But I don't have that. So
Remember that total intotal babe. That total intimacy.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not always the bedroom.
You're right.
Even though that
But
is a benefit.
But you know where my
That
mind always
that-
goes.
Total intimacy, though.
Oh,
you know,
man.
that all around, honey.
I see you. I see you. And I'm glad. I'm glad we got to this point.
It makes me feel so good
Yes.
that now, oh man, you have no idea.
Oh, I do.
It's been so many years
Yeah, I know.
of
I
being
can see it on your face. I
accused
can
of
tell.
just why
Being
are
a
you so
sleepyhead.
tired? Being a sleepyhead. I'm like, that's not it.
Right.
You know, I don't want to be sleepy.
Right.
You think somebody wants to be walking around sleepy?
But we figured it out.
Like a zombie?
Now that we got the whoop, we know it's a combination of things that you need. You need less stress. You need
Yeah.
exercise in a day.
Yep, and I was able to test all that stuff out, guys. So now I can say, okay, when I do A, B, and C,
you know what I'm saying?
I can get that REM and deep better. You know, even melatonin nights that I took melatonin, I realized the melatonin didn't really do much for me.
Right.
So that's not even my issue. Going to sleep was not my issue.
That's not your problem.
So I tried that to see, and it was not. So
Yeah.
anyway, it has just been, it's been great.
Yeah.
So look
Yeah.
it up, see if it'll benefit you, because you guys might be having the same issues we are.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have the issue anymore, baby.
Right, exactly. The issue we had.
Yeah.
Anyway, good seeing y'all.
Bye, guys.